Yes, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Devil Theatre, the channel that's always on top of the drama. We like a bit of drama here, don't we? So,
Mm,
oh,
Man United like drama.
I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think I'm so used to it now. I think I'm become part of it. It's almost like
But then again, we're Asian and we sort of grew up in drama.
that's what I'm saying. Those
You know what
Disney
I mean?
channels and those really Disney programs. I think it's equipped as well to be Manchester United supporters, man. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, let's get straight into it. I think when we talk about drama, the Leicester game on Friday just gone by, the FA Cup game. I mean, yeah, we smashed them, didn't we, man? 2-1.
Oh,
Says it in the
bro, from
scoreline,
what
doesn't it?
it was total domination. I mean, Talksport was buzzing about it on my drive down.
Yeah,
But
you
no,
was obviously
let's get
driving
into
down
that.
on at that
Let's
time.
get into that because that's a great place to start because, and I sent this tweet into the group and I can't remember who tweeted it, but someone said something along the lines of Ruud van Nistelrooy smashed this same Leicester team twice with that same bunch of players, with the exception of Patrick Dogu.
Mm.
Yeah, we limped over the finish line, and we did so from an offside position.
I don't think he was even limped. I think we just really fell over. And do you know what I mean? Because, yeah, again, it just gives me flashbacks to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer time when we played terrible for however many minutes, and then for most of the game, 80-90% of the game, then all of a sudden some brilliance, some lucky part, an individual lucky thing that happens, and we end up winning the game. Do you know what I mean? I mean. Yeah, the Leicester goal was, it was quite funny. People were blaming in my group chat, in one of the other group chats that I was in, they're blaming bloody Onana for that goal, and I was like, what more could he do? The shot was shot at him, quite close range. He saved it with his feet. He obviously rebounds, goes back to the Leicester player, and obviously yes, he can't dive in, in time to save the ball. I'm not sure what else he could do.
Look, from what
Um,
I saw, again, I only watch highlights. It kind of looked like you said there was nothing much he could have done, but this is where like fans have been like, "Oh, David De Gea was so much better."
Oh,
You
mate,
literally hounded David De Gea out of this football club.
mate, in the same group that I'm in, yeah, they didn't want
Ju-
David De Gea. Then all of a sudden, David De Gea was better than Onana, and this is why we always say, watch what you wish for. You know, um,
I found the full tweet, by the way, if you want to read it.
go on.
Seb Ostergren. So he
So you
put
read it
Rude
then.
beat this Dross 5-2 and 3-0. The new back five system has barely created a real attack. We can blame the players all we want, but the same players did destroy this same team weeks ago. This is so hard to buy into, meaning the philosophy,
Amarim's philosophy and
yeah,
Amarim's
style of play.
formation style of play. Yeah, I think we've discussed it on here a few times now. It's almost like the chicken and the egg scenario. You know, does Amarim come in, plays philosophy, and the players have to change to that, or should Amarim, he's got the players that he's got and have to change to the players that he's got? Again, that to me, is that's the question the board, the ownership answered by implementing Amarim with the team that we've got. And like I've said before, I can't blame Amarim. There's no way on earth am I blaming Amarim for any of this. Don't get me wrong, I can criticize him in terms of some of the things that he said and why he says them, and is it good for morale, and question what he's trying to achieve. Obviously, again, his team selections, we can all criticize, but I get it. He's trying to experiment. He's not getting the results that he wants with the players that he thinks he's got, so he has to experiment a bit. Doesn't always work. But again, if you're gonna get this guy in doing what he's been doing at other clubs and the reason why he's got success, he's got to stick to it.
I agree, and just like you, I can't solely blame the manager. However, I will question one thing:
Go on.
Patrick Dogu at right back or right wing back.
Why is everybody surprised at that?
But
That's
he
the bit I
was
don't get.
signed for the. See, my surprise at that is he was signed for the left hand side.
But who
Dalot
said he signed for
primar-
the left
no,
hand side?
that was the information put out there, and I think a lot of Like, I mean, we went through it. Majority of his games have been played on the left-hand side of the pitch.
No, the right hand side.
No, I think the majority was left. He
No,
has a
right.
fair few at right.
He's been playing right centre, right wing back. That's where he's been playing.
I thought he was
The
a left wing
majority of his
back.
games. No. He can play left wing back. But if you look at his games, majority of the games at the right wing back.
So then why the hell did we let Malacia go?
Maybe he just didn't think he was good enough. Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't know much about him. It's obviously what I've been
God.
been watching and reading what people have been saying. He's been playing the right wing back,
This gets
and that's where he
more and more
played.
complicated.
I can't comment. I'm not a scout, nor am I a fucking
Let's
football
wait and see
manager.
how it goes. But
Yeah, and that's the bit I was
did he
surprised
have a
about.
good first game?
He played decent. He played well. I mean, him and Ahmad, I think, probably were the two bright spots. I think, from memory. Been a few days since then. I tried to put it out of my brain that game because there's nothing to write home about. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing to there. I thought, well, brilliant. And the irony is, I said it in a tweet yesterday. I celebrated more yesterday the Plymouth game, their result, more than I did our own.
You know what? That's the magic of the FA Cup, man. Like, look, Plymouth had what 25 shots against them.
Did they? I don't know.
So
Fair play, man.
it was something ridiculous, and they held on. Look, all credit to them boys. Birmingham. I don't know if anyone caught the Birmingham Newcastle game. That guy with an absolute banger.
I didn't watch that game.
The
What was that result?
Japanese-
Newcastle won, didn't they?
3-2.
3-2 in the end.
But even they played a heavily rotated side, and it was just that was a good game to watch because obviously it was very back and forth. And look, this is what the FA Cup does. This is why we love the FA Cup. Now we're going to the next round. As I said, Plymouth have now knocked out their second Premier League team and they're rock bottom of the Championship.
I was saying to
I'm
my
just
son,
praying we don't draw them.
I don't want us to draw them, man. I want us to try and get as far as we can into the cup, but I don't want to draw them. But yeah, and the other thing is talking about the FA Cup. A lot of people are now saying, well, the league's over and done with. The league's over and done with, and concentrate on the FA Cup and the Europa League. When really Eric Ten Hag was winning the FA Cup and weren't doing very well in the league, then it was all
They
about
weren't happy about league performance. Yeah,
it's not about cups. It's about the league and things like that. Yeah, everybody's just.
I feel like you quoted somebody we know.
Yeah. Obviously, Tej is on there. I think I said it the other day. Something he said about the league and things like this. And he was the biggest. He was the biggest proponent that wanted Eric Ten Hag out. Do you know what I mean? And it's quite ironic. He's saying very similar things that we were saying about Eric Ten Hag, about Amorim. You know.
It's baffling, man. It really is.
Yeah. And it's the good old adage of Eric Ten Hag didn't. This weekend it was 800 million he'd spent. I always thought it was 600.
Someone said it was 600. Someone says it's 1 billion. The number changes constantly, man.
Yeah, just trying to get the point across. So yeah, it was.
But
quite
regardless
funny.
of what he spent, Anthony's killing it.
Anthony, well, let's come into that in a second. In a such that we said last time, we're going to pull out some tweets on the show, and one of the tweets that stuck out, which you tagged me on X, was that Arsenal fan, isn't it? Well Beast.
I assume he's an Arsenal fan. I don't actually.
Yeah, I think so. He's got the profile and Gabriel picture profile, and he's put some quotes on what players had said. Ex-Manchester United players had said. So let me just tell you. I mean, Lukaku had said, "Inter pulled me out of shit." Okay,
meaning
talking about Man
United.
Yep. Di Maria, PSG saved me. Although he never really wanted to come anyway originally. Sanchez, I do remember this one which was mentioned. I wanted to quit Manchester United and return to Arsenal after my first training session. I remember that. Dan James.
I remember that. Oh, I just want to know what that training session was.
That's when Thing was in charge as well. Mourinho, yeah. Dan James, apparently when he left, I just wasn't sure about myself anymore, which I can probably understand.
He's one of the few we actually made a profit on as well.
Made a profit on, yeah. Who bought in, not through the academy. And Sancho, he's put on a tweet under Marcus Rashford's Instagram profile yesterday. It's picture, should I say? And Sancho's put freedom. It almost reminded me of that bloody
with the little
Mel Gibson film.
prayer emoji.
Yeah.
Braveheart.
Braveheart. Yeah.
Yes.
And then the World Beast tweet ended.
Sancho and the 52 Chelsea players all lined up in a row.
Well, that's it. Yeah, even that's too many, too many. Chelsea got more than that. And yeah, and then that World Beast, his tweet finishes off saying, "Maybe it's the club, not the players." Um,
I don't know how long I've been saying it, bro. I really don't.
yeah, I think I put it in the group, didn't I? To me, it's quite funny, and how many people are getting upset about Jadon Sancho's comments. Um, I mean, I don't know. You
What did they
probably.
expect?
I know you've been speaking to a few, well, some of the guys in our group, whereby I think some people are happy with the comments. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, it's had a mixed reception. Some people are happy, some people feel it's disrespectful, some people are taking the stance of, well, he's done nothing since he left anyway, which is neither here nor there. The point is, it just goes to show the state of Manchester United. Like, that tweet wasn't veiled, it wasn't a slight, it was very blatant what it was meant to be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It was a dig at Man United, and, you know, Sancho is out, Rashford's out, Martial is out and thriving.
And
Up
never
in
gets injured,
Greece.
apparently no more.
Yeah,
He's in
he's
Greece.
scoring goals as well. He's
Is
smashing
he?
it, man.
Fair play, man. Fair
But
play.
like, I saw something as well that they've all swapped shirt numbers. So you know how they were 9, 11, and 26? Or
Oh,
whatever they
okay.
were. They've all now, so Rashford's now 9, Martial's now 26, and I think Sancho's now 11 or something like that.
Oh, okay.
So they've all kept each other's shirt numbers. I don't know. It could be something. It could be. Yeah,
Nah, I'm sure that's.
I reckon there's nothing in that because
Yeah, that's just a
Villa probably had the 9 available news. Like, you know what?
Yeah.
Why not? I'm Marcus Rashford.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah, and to us, I think what we've been saying for a long time is, look, when do you start questioning the graveyard that is Manchester United? Because I accept a lot of these players, unless you Jadon Sancho, he probably hasn't got the right attitude. I mean, don't get me wrong, when he came or when we was being linked to him, I was pumped, man. I thought, yes,
I was buzzing.
This is the kind
Watching
of guy
how
we need.
him and Haaland tore up Bundesliga.
Exactly, man.
I was like, yeah, we're getting a sick player, man. We've finally solved our right wing issues, and nothing.
Well, although he's playing on the left a lot, you know, I mean, all those other things. But hey, let's not get involved in
Apparently
that.
players
But
can play anywhere and everywhere.
yeah, but how the hell do we ruin even Jadon Sancho and like I says, I'm not gonna try and back him up because I again don't. I think a lot was done for him at this club, especially when he went on that bloody sabbatical to the mountains. Eric Ten Hag let him off, go there, and
I don't know what mountains he went to.
Yeah, I always remember that game. Again, I can't remember who it was with. Again, should I say? But when he came back, he was hugging.
And he
Erik
changed
Ten
his
Hag,
profile picture
and
to him and Ten Hag. Yeah.
Exactly. And then Erik Ten Hag's done the same thing to Sancho, what Amorim's done to Rashford. Question the training and all that, which is they're well within their right to. But then people wanted Erik Ten Hag out for doing that. But the blowing the trumpet of Amorim for doing the same thing to Marcus Rashford. Again, and
even though Rashford was one of our own.
Yeah, and Rashford actually, performed for us as well. Actually did something for our club, unlike Sancho. Again, as I was saying, Sancho, I can't remember a performance. The only real performance that ever sticks out for me for him is Erik Ten Hag's first season, the third game against Liverpool at home, when he sat a few of the players down.
Sat
Sancho
Van
then
Dijk
scored
down.
the goal.
Yes.
Yeah, and he scored the goal, and then obviously we went on to win.
But just to back up that, obviously what we said about Sancho, look, not everyone's going to leave and smash it. We know that. Jadon's clearly in a bad place, or whatever's going on with his football's going on. His last 11 games across all competitions, this is Statman Dave. Nothing against Brentford, nothing against Everton, nothing against Fulham, nothing against Ipswich, who are probably the worst team in the league, even though they play great football. 1 assist against Palace, nothing against Morecambe, Bournemouth, Wolves, City, West Ham, and Brighton.
Freedom.
Freedom. So in 11 games, you've got 1 assist, albeit Palace ripped us to shreds, but you got 1 assist against Crystal Palace.
Yeah, look, I think Jaden.
That for me, I can get where the anger comes from. Is like he's not really pulling up trees himself.
Yeah,
kind of
100%, 100%, 100%. And like I said, I wasn't too bothered about his tweet because for me, it just goes to show not obviously what we've been saying, but a lot of people have been saying, he's just this club just is just a graveyard, so it's no surprise. And like I
It's
said,
funny when the rival fans can see it and our own fans can't.
yeah, exactly. That's what's hilarious, especially when fans are like saying, "Oh, we want the Glazers out," but then when the players are kind of talking about the atmosphere, they kind of get all but hurt. You know what I mean? It's like you can't have both. You can't moan about the ownership and the way that club's been run, but then when a player kind of questions, what's happening at the club, then get angry. It's tribalism, and I get that. But you have to be a bit logical as well, because a few
Well,
fans.
surely tribalism, in terms of like if you are Glazers out, your tribalism ends with the players and the manager, right? You're never going to side with the ownership.
Well, it doesn't
You
even start
think
with the players and the managers. You back them, because again, it's been 11, 12 years, same old shit, different managers, different players, same performances. We've obviously been getting even worse. And I've mentioned how players have gone out and gone and done well. There's also another tweet by Statman Dave, that no Manchester United player has scored more league goals this season than Scott McTominay, which is 6. I'd put that stat out, but
and I think
then
when he left, he was one of our top scorers that year as well.
yeah. But then you've got things like fans saying, "Well, it's Italy, Spain." Again about Anthony. Oh, that everybody goes and smashes it out there, right?
Really? I could
Look,
name a few who didn't.
no, yeah, exactly. I'm not going to get into that, obviously. But then there's a lot of players that come from those countries that come and smash it into this league as well. So the unfortunate thing is that it would have been great, say, like Scott McTominay goes over there, okay, doesn't do very well here at Manchester United, goes to Italy, say he wins the league or something of that nature. It'd be good if he comes into
I
England
think they're
to
on
one of the
course
top
to as
sides.
well.
Yeah.
Weren't they
If
leading?
Scott McTominay comes to a top side in England and wins the league, then we could say, oh yeah, but then it'll be just like, oh, it's only one player. We've got to be realistically and say, how often do players leave from here at a good age where they're going to be doing something well? If you mention Alanga's, oh, he's not in a big club.
Elanga's smashing it though.
Yeah, but he's not in a big club. He doesn't get the pressure. So I think what I'm trying to say is fans will bend over backwards to make any argument.
You could argue Lukaku's been successful.
Yeah, but Lukaku, again, it's in the Italian league, isn't it? Obviously, when he came to
Yeah,
Chelsea,
same
he
argument,
didn't
innit?
do great, And this is what I'm trying to say. You can make those arguments, and really, statistically and factually, it's hard to obviously argue against. But the question always comes back to, obviously, players from those leagues do come to this country, do well, okay. However, no player obviously goes from here or comes here and does very well. Unfortunately, like I says, we can use a Langer that went from here, goes to Nottingham Forest, but it's just going to be, again, like I said, there's going to be excuses made. So you're never really going to get that true, obviously.
Would you say Matteo Darmian did well for Manchester United?
He was a good player. But again,
I'm just thinking, young fullback from Serie
yeah,
A.
but he went to Italy though.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying that in his time at United, if we flip it, so he's come from Serie A to Manchester.
Yeah.
Again, just as a comparison, Doga's just done the same thing. Doga's a lot younger, got a lot more, from what people are saying, a lot more promise, a lot more talent. So we'll just have to see how he adapts. But for a fact, fans aren't going to use that same logic.
No. Like I said, I think fans will use any kind of argument, because like I says, I we know how we feel. You can't just be a coincidence all the time where fans, or should I say, players come here and leave, and don't do great, or some of them do good, but then there's an excuse for that as well. You know, it's a small league, or either the club's not that big, and there's always going to be excuse. But I just wish fucking fans, if they are glazes out, stick to that. It should only be that. It can't just be glazes out. Managers are an issue, players are an issue. I think we've got to kind of stick to one thing,
You
because
said something earlier about Manchester United being a graveyard and
mm,
how we can relay that back to the Glazer family. I know we're not going to touch on it because you ain't got a clue where to start, but starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, presumably the best in the league, was pictured with, I believe, Avram. Which one of them has barely any hair?
was
Is it
he?
Avram?
Was that an actual picture?
Yeah, he's pictured with Avram. Well, it's Super Bowl weekend. All the franchise owners will be in town.
Okay,
But
okay,
he's pictured with Avram Glazer, and lo and behold, the Chiefs get absolutely slaughtered.
yeah.
So everything the Glazers touch turns to shit.
I think just for those, I think Patrick Mahomes plays for the Chiefs,
Yeah,
and they
Kansas City
lost.
Chiefs.
Kansas City Chiefs. I think Philadelphia Eagles. Is that right?
Yep,
See, I know
correct.
something. See, I know something. I also understand. Is it Kendrick Lamar?
Yep, halftime show.
It was shit apparently. So I think they lost 1.3
So
million um, viewers on that. But anyway,
Trump
we
was
we
there. He
we
got
we,
a.
we the orange man.
Mm.
We digress. I mean, another tweet just before we finish off as well. A guy called Adam Joseph. I'm just gonna read it out because it is a bit of a long tweet. So I just want to read it out. I'll try and read it out without any interruption. So, former Manchester United players thriving away from Old Trafford has led to the discussion about why that is. It seems to be either that they were poorly utilised or misunderstood, were not developed, or are thriving away from the pressure of the club. Why can't it all be true? Manchester United does not provide an environment for players to thrive. Players like Bruno Fernandes thrive despite it. Mark Rashford did it for years, but that faded. Getting away from that must have been refreshing. It seems to be for most. It can also be true though that away from the spotlight, the pressure cooker that playing for the club provides can also make it easier to shine. Sometimes leaving can be the best thing for those players. We can just be happy for former players who are thriving, like Scott McTominay, or players who are loaned, who are rebuilding their careers and transfer value, without it turning into who can we blame here scenario, which is very true. I mean, we've mentioned Scott McTominay. We talk about Anthony. He's got two player matches
In two
um,
games, yeah.
in two
Scored a goal
games
as well.
since he's gone to Real Betis. And Marcus Rashford, he looked, up pretty yesterday the way he was running around, because obviously,
He looked
he'd
sharp,
been accused.
which was,
Yeah,
considering he's not had a lot of game time, well, he's had no game time recently, was
yeah, yeah,
quite
yeah, yeah.
refreshing. So it means he's obviously off the pitch, he's been doing some work,
Yeah, yeah, and
which
hopefully
is
slowly
good
he'll
to see,
build
you
that
know.
up. Yep. And also pictured is David De Gea, who again, like you said, a lot of fans wanted him out of the club. I think that last time we talked about the third or fourth in the league as well, and Fiorentina, that is. Again, he'd been there for over a year, and he's back in doing well. So that just goes to our point,
He's
saying,
even
look,
saving penalties nowadays.
yeah, yeah, which you couldn't do for us. I mean, that just goes to show, it's just players can rebuild their careers. There is a lot of pressures at Manchester United. I think that goes back to what we're saying. Yes, it is a pressure cooker at Manchester United, but that's why everything has to be right here. You can't be cutting corners. If you're going to cut corners at the top level, it's going to reflect down. It's hard enough being a Manchester United player anyway, but then for your ownership to cut corners, for morale to be low, it just brings you down even that bit more. So I think, people have to kind of understand that. Um, after I think we're gonna leave it there, but hopefully we're gonna come back end of this week.
Yeah,
There's
because
an
it's the 1 year anniversary of a special takeover that changed the
yeah,
course of Man United history forever.
yeah, on Valentine's Day. Do you know what I mean?
Oh.
I don't know whether love is in the air with INEOS, but yo, there's a lot of people who do. You know what I mean? I think we're one channel that isn't loving in the air with INEOS. But look, it'll be a good one to look back over the year. Again, please everybody get involved. Share us some of your thoughts of what's been happening over that year. Share with us some of the things that have happened that you haven't liked. You know, please also share the things that you have liked, what has been positive, because we
We want to try and be as objective and as fair as possible.
yeah, we want to be fair as possible. We want to be objective, but we struggle. But we're not gonna, you can't turn away facts, and so please share those with us there. So that'd be quite interesting. But yeah, so again, we'll meet you on Friday hopefully, and yeah, let's try and go over that and see this wonderful year that has been in us. But yeah, everybody, thank you for tuning in. Again, like, share the podcast, support us as you always do. It's always great. And yeah, we'll catch you soon.